This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
And good evening to you. Here at 11 o'clock, I'm Mark Mullins. For the first time in weeks, the weekend will be very hot and will likely stay dry. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is helping you prepare for that. Kevin?
We prepared today in a way. We hit 88 degrees in Indianapolis, still seeking the first 90 of 2010 in Indianapolis. Some spots have been there already. It is still very warm right now. 78 in Kokomo. It feels like 80 in Frankfort. It is 80 degrees. Heat index not much of a factor at this hour. 80 in Bloomington as well. These overnight lows will stay very warm the next several days. Most nights around 70 degrees. You start warm, will end warm to hot, just depending on how you want to define it. By noon tomorrow, we're at 84 degrees. Tomorrow, a dry day. These are high, thin clouds. Not expecting any rain. Once again, upper 80s for the high temperature. Still to come, we've got to talk about your 4th of July forecast, some Sunday rain chances, and then changes that arrive in the middle of next week.
New tonight, a child caught in the crossfire. Police say a stray bullet struck a preteen child during a fight on the west side of Indianapolis. Officers were called to 29th Street near Barnes Avenue around 7:30 this evening. Investigators took 2 to 3 people into custody for questioning. The victim is stable. We will bring you updates as we learn more about this. Right now, you might have a hard time navigating through Franklin Township. If you live there, you probably noticed the problem. Some of the area's busiest intersections are closed as crews transform them into roundabouts. RTV6's Elena Martella is working for you, finding the trick to getting around the detours.
If you live in or drive around Franklin Township often, it's a familiar sight. You're driving down the road and you come across a detour sign. A lot of the major intersections are closed right now for some summer road projects. So here's how to get around them.
We've had traffic issues for a long time. The city's been behind.
To help with these problems, Franklin Township is jumping on the Carmel roundabout wagon.
We're growing fast out here. We need these roundabouts. We need them yesterday. 4
intersections will be transformed 2 at a time between now and October as part of an upwards of $3 million Indeed DPW project.
It'll help the traffic, and so it's just, they've waited so long and they've got stuff going on everywhere, and just kind of hard to get around out here for the next few months.
First up are the intersections of Arlington Avenue and Edgewood Avenue, and that of Franklin Road and Edgewood Avenue, leaving these major arteries closed, which in turn makes car rides anything but a joy.
Just kind of an inconvenience.
Traffic is being funneled to other major roads such as Thompson, Southport, and Hickory Roads and Emerson Avenue.
It's a little bit of a burden on everything, people cutting through neighborhoods and that kind of thing. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but we'll get through it like always.
And though these problems might cause inconveniences, the key is to look forward.
Hand it to the mayor and Mallory, our city councilman. We're getting it done and planning for the future out here.
The hope is for these first 2 projects to wrap up by August. Elena Martella for the news, Channel 6.
Next up to be transformed are the intersections of Franklin Road and Thompson Road and Arlington Avenue and Shelbyville Avenue. For a complete detour routes, you can search this story on our website at theindychannel.com, or you can use the RTV6 app. The Better Business Bureau of Central Indiana has a warning out tonight about a growing scam that can trick even the savviest people. Jenny Lee of Cloverdale has a timeshare in Branson, Missouri, but it's too expensive, so she wants to get rid of it. She got a call from a company offering to buy it. Jenny researched the company's name, and it was legitimate, or so she thought. Turns out the scammers were posing as a real timeshare reseller. Now Jenny is out thousands of dollars in fees that she sent to the fake company. The Better Business Bureau says this scam is huge right now as many Hoosiers look to unload timeshares.
About how much money?
In all, I'm out $4,100.
And what kind of money is that to you?
I mean, that's a month's pay for me. So that means bills could potentially not get paid if, I never see that money again.
The Better Business Bureau investigated a timeshare company called D&W International Closings. Now, its address is in downtown Indianapolis, but Call 6 Investigates found the business does not even exist. Bottom line, there are legitimate businesses that will buy timeshares, but many are a scam. So make sure you know who you're dealing with and never wire money. Hamilton County is getting help to ease overcrowding at a jail. The new expanded wing of that building opened today. Inmates are scheduled to move into the new facility early next month. 25 years ago, the jail was built to hold 296 inmates and now houses nearly 400. Sheriff Dennis Quackenbush says that does not mean an increase of crime in the county.
Even though Hamilton County ranks 4th in population, we're number 9th in the number of adult offenders in the state system. We're number 18th in the population of our local jail. So even though the county continues to grow at an explosive rate, the jail is relatively small compared to others in the state.
The first phase of the expansion includes 120 new beds, a classroom, indoor recreation section, and medical support area. 52 years in prison is the sentence for a man accused of shooting and killing a convenience store clerk and skipping away from the scene. Desi Thomas Jr. learned his fate today. Thomas pleaded guilty to murdering Harry Briggs. That shooting happened in 2014 at a store on Troy Avenue on the southwest side of Indianapolis. Tonight, we are getting a first-hand look at training that's used to save the lives of pregnant women and their babies.
1 and 2 and 3 and breathe. 1 and 2 and 3 and breathe.
Registered nurses at Franciscan Health Simulation Center in Greenwood practice emergency and crisis situations that can happen during delivery. The training includes delivering a mannequin baby that can breathe and cry. The goal here is to help reduce deaths during childbirth. The program's coordinator says the training makes a difference and sometimes very quickly.
We had several instances where people would come to class and then actually put that training to use within their next shift. And then we would get letters from them saying, I'm so grateful that I had that training because I knew what to do.
Indiana ranks 43rd in infant mortality, 46th in maternal mortality, double the national average. 36 dogs, 4 cats, and 10 chickens are recovering in foster homes and shelters at this hour after being rescued from a home in Carroll County. Deputies started investigating the property in rural Camden after getting a tip. They say the animals were living in terrible conditions and did not have proper food, water, or shelter. The sheriff says the investigation was unprecedented for the size of the county, but officials worked tirelessly to save the animals. The homeowners face several charges, including animal cruelty. If you're thinking about adopting a cat or a kitten to your home, check out the Indianapolis Animal Shelter. Cat cages at IACS are full, and now through the end of the month, adoptions are free. And not just for cats, the deal applies to all animals. The shelter is open from 9 to 5 tomorrow. A legendary name in racing is teaming up with Riley Hospital for Children to raise money and create memories. Today, dozens of Riley families met with former IndyCar and NASCAR driver John Andretti and his son Jarrett. They led a tour of the Andretti Auto Sports race shop on the northwest side of Indianapolis. John Andretti says meeting with kids from Riley is personal for him.
When I was a teenager, my sister was in a car accident. Before that, my brother was in a racing accident, a go-kart racing accident, and both were seriously hurt. And so my dad always made sure they got to Riley.
John Andretti is still in treatment for cancer. Tomorrow, the Andrettis will take part in the 23rd annual Kroger Race for Riley at Newcastle Motorsports Park. The race is a big fundraiser for Riley. The Patriotic Party is getting started early in Hamilton County. Spark Fishers kicked off tonight with a free concert at the Nickel Plate Amphitheater. Some festival goers were impressed with the musical acts, Vertical Horizon and Tonic.
I saw the band names and I was really impressed because I've always wanted to see Vertical Horizon. They've been on my list forever. And then Tonic also has a banger from the 90s. So, I mean, I've always wanted to see it live.
And that festival ramps up tomorrow with an all-day celebration. Events include a 5K run through the Nickel Plate District, a street fair and a festival, parade, and fireworks too.
Right now I call this the redemption stage. I've had a lot of bad things going on, but I'm trying to right it by using all the resources I can get.
Coming up, how a Central Indiana program is helping young people discover and develop their life and career goals.
We have a roof over our head. We can go ahead and be behind on some bills.
It's for baseball.
For baseball.
Parents risking debt so their kids can participate in youth sports. Why a growing travel trend is good for some local facilities, but is it good for families? And from helping resolve safety issues to making job connections, only RTV6 is working for you and getting results.
An Indianapolis
Indianapolis woman believes it's a tragedy waiting to happen. A leaning power line has her concerned tonight. She doesn't want it falling on her home or car or seriously hurting someone.
She reported it to Indianapolis Power and Light several times, but hasn't gotten much of a response back.
I told them now that the hole just has been getting bigger around the pole since it's been raining.
IPL came out today to investigate after we called. They're straining the pole immediately with the plan to potentially replace it entirely.
How one story from back in February helped one man land a dream job. Danny is a U.S. Air Force veteran. He was working in Tennessee when he applied for a job in Indianapolis. And his interviewer remembered our Hiring Hoosier story from February.
We need a new workforce from hourly all the way through to engineers and advanced scientists. With the help of RTV6, we had a local person that saw that, gave us a call and said, hey, I just actually talked to a candidate a few weeks ago that might be of interest to you guys.
I didn't even apply to this job. I was referred because of Hiring Hoosiers, so it's really, I thought that was really, really cool.
At NewportAquarium.com.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Sometimes young people need extra guidance as they figure out who they are and what they want to do. An organization on the Far East Side of Indianapolis is providing that guidance. The Pivot Re-Engagement Center is targeting teens and young adults that are disengaged from school or the workforce. A 5-day course called the Power Huddle helps participants discover and advance their goals, like earning a high school equivalency degree or getting into a trade school or enrolling in college. Tamia Lewis encourages others to take advantage of resources available in the community.
You never know when the resources are going to come knocking at your door. You know, I didn't know that this was going to come here, but it honestly came in my life for a reason. So if this program comes into your life for a reason, take advantage of it because they really honestly care.
People between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not in school are eligible for the free program. Once participants complete the course, there are other resources available to help them stay on the right path. For more information, go to hiringhoosiers.com. A bittersweet goodbye tonight. After 40 years, RTV6's Derek Thomas signed off today for the final time.
Derek Thomas for the news, Channel 6.
Fittingly, he filed his final report by bringing back the signature sign-off that many of you still remember decades later. As we said farewell to Derek, he shared this message for you.
With all due respect to my bosses, I never worked for them. I worked for you, the viewer. I respected you, I trusted you, and I did my best for you. It's great. Thank you. Goodbye.
And you can watch the full tribute to Derek and a behind-the-scenes look at his final day on the RTV6 app for your streaming devices like Amazon TV and Roku. It is bittersweet. It was tough to watch him walk out the door for the final time here at the station.
I was panicking there because I thought we were going to run out of time.
Right.
We were all getting countdown, and World News starts, so they just cut you off.
Right.
And so
But Derek timed it right to the last second.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why it pays sometime to have a window seat when you're flying. My daughter flew into Indy
Look at
tonight.
that. It was a gorgeous sunset,
nice
too. Yeah.
Sunset, and if you can see that, the Motor Speedway in the foreground there. No rain across central Indiana today, and there won't be tomorrow. It's looking north now, and it's steamy everywhere. Temperatures in the upper 70s in Indy, 79, 75 in Bloomington and Martinsville. Okay, next several days, rain chances Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. Then as we get to Tuesday and Wednesday, the pattern it changes next week as our temperature will come down a little bit and rain chances will come back up. But generally, most of us drive for the weekend. Temperatures consistently around the 90-degree mark. We've not made it officially in Indianapolis yet. You have to go back to last September 20th for our temperature to have hit 90 degrees. Humidity, definitely in the upper end of the scale. You'll notice that right on through early next week, and that makes it feel uncomfortable even if it's not that hot. Heat index value will peak on Monday. I think that'll be the warmest day. The combination of low temperature, actual temperature in the low 90s, and that high humidity will give us a heat index that will push the upper 90s. That's in Indianapolis. Some spots may see a triple-digit heat index to start next week. Let's start your weekend. Temperatures both tomorrow and on Sunday start around 70 degrees. Afternoon highs right at 90, mid-90s for your heat index value. And as I mentioned, a chance for thunderstorms later in the day on Sunday. Tomorrow, just the mid to high level clouds around, a nice little breeze, temperature close to 90. And that's true from north to south. I'll just let you shop around here at some of these forecasted high temperatures tomorrow, slightly above average for this time of year. And as we take a look at Sunday, temperatures pushing 90 degrees once again. The chance for thunderstorms will increase from northwest to southeast later in the day. Nothing too organized, but can't rule out that scattered shower or thunderstorm. Next week, Monday, as I mentioned, warmest day. Tuesday, our chance for rain will start to come up a bit. Same is true on Wednesday. 7-day forecast unveiled, which of course takes you to the 4th of July. Thunderstorm potential, high temperature of 87 degrees. Overnight lows fairly, well, very consistently at 70 or above. Warm overnights, warm afternoons, just occasional rain. Mark?
It's warm, warm, warm. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Youth sports is becoming big business. Parents spend a lot of money for their kids to participate in travel teams and tournaments. That's a good thing for venues like Grand Park in Westfield. But is it good for families? Chris Stewart looks at why some parents say it's worth it and what some say needs to change about that multi-billion-dollar industry.
12-year-old Luke Martinez spends most weekends right here, fielding grounders and ripping liners into the outfield. He plays for San Antonio's Alamo Drillers, the top 12 and under baseball team in America.
It's on a different level. It's on elite level.
The Martinez family spends most weekends on the road, traveling cross-country to tournaments.
Having to go from Houston to Dallas to Lake Charles, Louisiana, Sulphur, Louisiana, Beaumont, Texas.
Between meals, hotels, and gas, the family forks over $300 to $500 a weekend, and it's money they don't always have.
Sometimes I'll have to be late on a payment on a car, home, cell phone. We just got to call with them and ask them if they could extend if we can make payment on it.
I figured because we have everything we need, we have food on the table, clothes on their back, vehicles to drive, we have a roof over our head, we can go ahead and be behind on some bills.
It's for baseball.
For baseball. For baseball because that's what he loves to do. And as a mom, I'm going to do everything I can to make him happy.
Those financial decisions may sound extreme, but in today's world,
It'll be 10 for them.
Youth sports can rack up quite the tab.
It's because the costs of playing in a league or travel ball are significant. So some of those families are spending $2,500. Some of those families are spending $15,000, $25,000 a year.
Dev Patik helps communities and investors develop massive youth sports facilities across the country.
Construction and development boom that we're certainly part of, that's sweeping the country. Hundreds of millions of dollars in sports assets being developed for tournaments.
And places like Westfield, Indiana are proof of that. Less than a decade ago, this city near Indianapolis was looking for an identity and something to do with hundreds of acres of farmland.
And so we decided youth sports.
Now, $85 million later, that farmland has 26 baseball diamonds, 31 sport fields, and other facilities that draw youth travel sports teams from across the country. 2.5 million people come here every year for tournaments and games. Come on, Aaron. Parents like these two, who drove 6 hours from Green Bay, Wisconsin, pump millions into Westfield's economy at hotels and restaurants.
Yeah, the money's there, obviously. I mean, you're spending the money, but it's the experiences are definitely, 2 more years, they're off to college, and this is kind of done. But yeah, so it's worth it.
We've seen more than $700 million in economic development, and that's in the ground and in the pipeline. That's pretty significant for a city, 40,000 people.
But the changing landscape and rising cost of youth sports has created a problem.
Kids in lower income households, they don't have the ability to access sport anymore. It's become so privatized, and the public sector stepped so far outside of it that it's left low-income families without access to sport.
Kids like Luke Martinez, his dad recently borrowing money from his 401k to help pay for a trip to New York for a tournament next month. A move some may consider drastic, but the Martinez family considers it money well spent, no matter what anyone else may think.
We're not living our life through our child. No, he likes it. He loves it. This is his passion.
I'm Chris Stewart reporting.
And a lot of kids use that facility.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a destination from around the country. Yep.
Right. And we're going to go from the baseball diamond to baseball players on the green. Brad Brown has that story in sports tonight. Brad.
All right, thanks, guys. We get into the weekend here. 18 innings would probably be a doubleheader for the Indians. 18 holes, though, would be a very good day for many of them. We're hitting the course, hitting the links, and hitting the driving range with the Indians coming up in our Sports Extra Spotlight.
Honda.
The only name you need to know.
And a good evening, everyone. Thanks for staying up with us here on your Friday night. A typical day of work for the Indians would be 9 innings. Well, when they've got some free time, several players like to get in 9 holes, or maybe 18. We're off the infield and onto the driving range with a closer look in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
Antone's pitch. There's a ground ball. That's in the hole. That's a base hit right field. And
Indians third baseman Kevin Kramer swings a bat for a living. But when he steps away from the baseball field, he likes to find time for some swings of a different kind.
You know, it's 4 hours where you're just kind of lost in your own little world. And, you know, throughout a 8-month stretch of baseball, it's a pretty important 4 hours for us. And if you get out once a month, it's a win. If you get out more than that, it's great too. But for us, it's just kind of a little bit of a break from the baseball life and time just to get out and have some fun.
Kramer is one of several Indians players that have taken up golf as more than just a hobby.
I can keep that competitive spirit. I can keep, you know, chasing something. I don't want to say it's filling the void, but essentially it's what it's doing for me. And it's one of those things where it keeps the fire strong. And when I come out here and I go back to the field, I'm a happy guy.
Kramer's 25 years old. It's his second season with the Indians. He's played courses all around Indy. Broadmoor Country Club is his usual spot. He's got the tribe's media relations director in his twosome for this round.
It's kind of hard to avoid that I am a golfer. You know, and I've been here this is my second year, so guys know that I'm going to play, and they know where to play. And when they ask, hey, how's this course? Okay, this is good. Broadmoor, awesome. You know, this, boom. And then you start planning off days where you guys are on trips.
The golf gear usually goes with him on the road. A stray off day, an early travel day, any opportunity to squeeze in another 9 or 18 holes.
You know, we played up in Canada. We had an off day in Buffalo, went across the border, played in Canada. That's pretty awesome. I've been golfing for 8 years now. I picked it up pretty late. Never touched a golf club when I was a kid. Wasn't really a thing in my household. Once I got away from home, started to golf a little bit with the boys, and it's a mental refresher just to kind of, all right, let me just get out. Let me just get out of my mind, not think about baseball, not think about my at-bats last night, and you know, just totally zone out and have a good time.
Kramer shot an 82 on the morning we followed him around Broadmoor. Said he played a couple nice courses up around Buffalo and Pawtucket this season. In New England, he'd really like to play crooked stick sometime. Someone who knows someone, maybe give the Indians a call, help him out. Try playing Gwinnett this weekend. They're in Louisville to start next week. They'll be back home for their 4th of July game on Thursday night. Time for our final break. We're back to finish off this Friday edition of the News at 11 next.
Need to know.
At MartinToyota.com.
If you think you have what it takes to enter the Shark Tank, your chance is coming up. The show is holding an open call at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on July 16th. Doors open at 6 a.m. And for more information, you can just go to theindychannel.com. Indy Park's annual Pack the Parks event is coming up at just the right time here. Tomorrow from noon to 5 p.m. You can cool off for free at pools around the city. There will also be other free activities throughout the day, including concerts, games, and yoga. You can find a full list by going to the RTV6 app and clicking on this story. People are going to be looking for water tomorrow.
Yeah, these overnight temperatures staying at 70 will keep that water temperature warm. The kids will always say it's warm, but they're numb because it's so cold. Come on in, it's fine.
Have a great and safe weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us.